two-tone hood in the driveway, flaking paint like old bad news. I got a jack, a 6-point socket, and a knuckle split on the fuse. Jeep won't crank on a cold morning, it just coughs like it swallowed sand. I swear this truck remembers every mile I put in my hands. I keep telling myself, one more bolt, one more turn. If I can just get a breathing, I can help this old girl earn. Rust and grease, that's the prayer I speak. Rust and grease, keeps me on my knees. Hold on, baby, if she rolls, I'll roll. If she quits, I'll stay. Rust and grease, that's the price I pay.
The other day.
Well, patrol members, I kind of screwed the pooch. I'm coming up the hill here. I'm thinking, man, this thing is dragging. It usually isn't that bad. I thought, well, I haven't done a tune-up in a while, and the carburetor's tired. So I pulled over here, moving the cameras around, and I discovered I drove the last 5 miles or 6 miles with the parking brake on. Now, there's no light in this car, and there never was, that tells you when your parking brake is on. So I'm sure when I get home, I'm going to have to do some work on it. Okay. I have to adjust the brake, parking brake on this. And I got to adjust it a little more, I think. And I'm almost out of adjustment. So let me put you down here. It's not that easy for me to get down here, so yep, when you get old you run into these problems. Okay, so where are we now? This is the parking brake cable. That's the parking brake. This is the shaft that goes to the spring. So I have to take this pin out. And adjust this cable in more, and we're going to be at the end of our adjustment. So that means I'm going to have to replace the shoes that are inside that housing there. Oh no! Are you okay? Did I hurt you? Hope not. So I'm going to take this. Boy, yeah, but there's no more adjustment left. This is what happens, guys, when you drive with your parking brake on. And I'm going to take this little pin. I'm going to stick it back in that hole. Cotter pin, cotter key, split pin. They're called different things all over the world. Okay, get in there. You know you want to get in there. That's where you came out. That's your home. But I'm free. Oh, maybe. Okay, come on. What's the issue here? Probably a piece of gunk built up in there. Let me bend that. There we go. And we push that in. And then we bend that down. And that's in there. And then we take our big ass spring. Where is that? Can you still see that? Here it is. Well, this is a chore. I take a giant spring and we lose it. And we put it back on there. So now that's all the adjustment left on that parking brake. I have to take this off. I have to buy a new set of shoes or bands or whatever you call them where you are and put them in. And that is going to be a colossal pain in the butt because I have to take this all right, so I have to drop the drive shaft, right? Then I got to take off a big nut that's under here. Then I have to slide this off. Then I have to take this whole plate apart off. And while I'm in there, I might as well be changing the seal because it appears that seal's leaking. And we don't need that. And that's one of the problems. This whole thing leaks. I need to reseal this whole shaft, this whole transfer case. Anyway, that's all for now. Later, Mater. So just when you start looking around your Jeep after you fix one thing or work on one thing, you find another problem. As you can see, this thing's half full of water. I mean, what is up with that? Oh no, that's a star bit. I need a... Those are all star bits. Where the hell's the Allens? Here we go. Well, of course, that's too small. And that's too big. Let me see what I can find. Well, I found a socket that's close. Let me put it in the spill plate. It's probably a metric size that I do not possess. Nope. Nope. Oh, I'm gonna have to take this whole thing off because these side covers have to come off. Okay. Job for a later day. I don't have time for this today. I got bigger fish to fry. I said that before, didn't I? I don't really have any fish to fry. You know what? I think the best plan is just get a whole new one, don't you guys? That seems like the best plan. Okay, later. Okay, let's take care of another chore. Since my Jeep suffers from incontinence, you guys okay? I was banging your face into stuff. We gotta take care of that. Can't leave that like that. There we go. Big helicopter heading this way. Is that a CH47? Nope. Looks like some kind of military helicopter. Oh well. I see them around here all the time. No biggie. And while we're at it, let's let this thing down too. No reason for it to be up. I gotta move it anyway. I gotta move it. Don't let go of this handle when you're jacking it down. This handle can jump up and slap you if you are not careful. There we go. Lean out there temporarily. You're leaning on the paint. Yeah, I am. Okay. Gonna have to move it. When I start working on the other Jeep, I'll bring you back. Later, Mater.
flaking paint like old bad news. I got a jack, a 6-point socket, and a knuckle split on the fuse. Jeep won't crank on a cold morning, just coughs like it swallowed sand. I swear this truck remembers every mile I put in my hands. I keep telling myself, one more bolt, one more turn. If I can just get her breathing, I can help this old girl learn. Rust and grease, that's the prayer I speak. Rust and grease, keeps me on my knees. Hold on, baby, if she rolls, I'll roll. If she quits, I'll stay. Rust and grease, that's the price I pay. Bent key in a Danny coffee can, old stain on my Sunday jeans. Heater fan blows a burnout whisper through the holes in the seats. I borrowed time from my neighbor, borrowed truth from my old man. Said, son, these worn out engines need a stubborn pair of hands. So I lean in close to the rattle and the shake. Every old machine gets lonely, every old heart needs a break. Rust and grease, that's the prayer I speak. Rust and grease, keeps me on my knees. Hold on, baby, if she rolls, I'll roll. If she quits, I'll stay. Rust and grease, that's the price I pay. There's a long scar down the fender from a fence row in July, and a dent above the tail light where the creek ran high. I don't fix these old machines just to make them look brand new. I'll fix them so they'll carry all the broken miles through. Rust and grease, that's the prayer I speak. Rust and grease, keeps me on my knees. Hold on, baby, if she rolls, I'll roll. If she quits, I'll stay. Rust and grease, that's the price I pay.